So far on this channel, I've only talked about harmonic and melodic concepts, but one thing I realized is that I haven't really talked about rhythm yet. And that's a shame because rhythm is still a very important part of music, just as much as harmony and melody are. So because of that, I wanted to talk about two rhythmic concepts that you may have heard of before. They're called polymeters and polyrhythms. Now, the first concept is polymeters, and what a polymeter is when you have two separate lines of music playing essentially in two different meters. For example, let's say we had one instrument playing quarter notes in 4/4, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I had another line that went something like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1. So what I did there can be described as a polymeter of 5/4 against 4/4, because I was playing groupings of 5 quarter notes over a grouping of 4 quarter notes. Now that little piece of music is still technically 4/4, but because one line was playing groupings of 5 quarter notes while the other line was playing groupings of 4 quarter notes, the accents of both lines kind of desynchronized with each other. And then you get this cool kind of sound where both lines are kind of moving away from each other, and then they slowly come back around and meet at one again. Now another example of polymeters, and of course because I'm a progressive metal nerd, probably the masters in the progressive world of polymeters are of course the band Meshuggah. So if we analyze that song, which you may already know as Bleed, we have the quarter notes at around here. And then from there, we divide that into 16th notes. So 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1. Now that main riff that you hear is essentially based on that 16th note pulse, but instead of groupings of 4 notes, they actually group them into groupings of 3 notes. So it gives you the feeling of this: 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1. So the riff is essentially just two 30-second notes followed by two 16th notes, and then just repeated over and over and over again. So you could call that a polymeter of 3/16 against 4/4, or maybe you could just call it 12/16 against 4/4 if you want to consider the whole riff including that little bend. The second topic I have today is polyrhythms. Now, polyrhythms are essentially two different rhythms being played simultaneously over the same tempo or the same interval of time. More specifically, I'm going to be dealing with the more conflicting polyrhythms, like playing eighth notes and triplets at the same time. Now the best way I can describe what a polyrhythm is first, let's say we have a tempo right here. And now let's say I have one musician play 2 notes within that tempo. So, and then I have another musician play 3 notes within that interval. Now if I told both of those musicians to play those lines at the same time, you'd get something that sounds like this. That would be a 2 against 3 polyrhythm, and because you're playing 2 notes and 3 notes within the same tempo or the same interval of time. Now a 2 against 3 is probably the most common polyrhythm and probably the easiest to feel, but once you start to add more numbers, it starts to sound a lot more complex. Now some of these polyrhythms might be hard to feel at first, especially once you start getting to higher and more complex numbers, but there's actually a really easy trick to be able to figure out any polyrhythm that you could think of. So let's figure out how to play a 3 against 4 polyrhythm using that trick, which is also another pretty common polyrhythm. Alright, so for this trick, I find it a little easier to actually physically write it down on a piece of paper. So what you want to do is get a piece of paper and a pencil and write down 3 rows of 4. So what I mean by that is actually write down 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4. Now what I want you to do is count through that row of numbers, and since we're playing 3 against 4, we want to circle every third note. So you have to circle 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4, 1. Now what you want to do is take one of your hands and play 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4. And then you want to take your other hand and play every 3 notes. So 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4, 1. And then from there, try your best to play both at the same time. So you might have to start slow at first. So like 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1. And then from there, just gradually speed it up. So 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4. And then eventually you get that. So if we wanted to do something like 4 against 5, that would be 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1. Now, one common trick that I actually see pretty commonly within the progressive metal and rock scenes is to actually have the drummer switch between both rhythms within the song. And pretty much what I'm talking about is in songs like so you can hear in those songs that the drummer is actually switching between like groupings of 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 3 2 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4. Now the tempo of those songs are not changing, but the drummer just suddenly decides to play a different rhythm that fits within that same tempo. Alright, that's all the time I have today. I hope you enjoyed this video and learned something new. And even though this isn't a guitar-based video, I still hope you can utilize these concepts and apply them to your own playing. But anyway, that is all for today, and I will catch you later.